Here they come, shouted our sentry, who spotted Moomoo's blue truck bending the corner of 89th Street. I saw it too, but it was the only vehicle to turn the corner. They were alone. It is not Hoover policy to do anything alone. Something wasn't right. The truck pulled to a stop and 8 Hoovers came forth. One Hoover representing each street of Hoover connection, 43rd, 52nd, 59th, 74th, 92nd, 94th, 107th, and 112th. As they lumbered out, I recognized hardly any except Benos from 107th Street and Mac. But still something wasn't right. Their faces were disfigured. All of them had been beaten and bad. "Cuz," stammered Mac in barely audible syllables, "we came to squash that shit we got going on with y'all. We finna get with these 60s ninjas. Cuz they mopped us up at the Gladys Knight concert last night." "Damn, how many of them was it?" I asked. "Man, they was like 200 deep." "So what's up then?" asked one of our baby lokes. "Come to the truck," said Ben, and he turned and walked away. "Bring a gat," I whispered to Stag, who promptly retrieved the 45 from Bam. We followed the Hoovers out to the truck. When we got there, Mac pulled back a burlap covering to reveal a cache of rifles. Not shotguns, but rifles. There had to be at least 2 dozen there. "Cuz, it is Hoover gangster or what?" asked Mac to the crowd. "It's gangster Hoover if anything," someone yelled back. "Well, let's show these 60s ninjas what it's like." At that, homies started climbing into the truck, grabbing weapons and running to their cars. Some stayed in the back of the truck and rolled with the Hoovers. When we pulled away from St. Andrews Park, the caravan was 16 cars deep, with the Hoovers heading it up. The week that followed would be one filled with rumors of sheer terror and mayhem. It was Sunday, August 27, 1984. As we headed out, we ran into Ping from Santana Block, who had 2 females with him. After we explained to him that we were on our way to the races, the females asked if they could ride with us. I said no, but Little Harv simultaneously said yes. We ended up letting them roll with us. We introduced ourselves as Monster, Little Harv, which is all it took for them to link us with A-Trey. They were 60s and never told us. When we got to the races, which were largely huge crib meetings, we asked the 2 females if they wanted something to eat from the Golden Ox across the street. They declined, and we walked over to the restaurant to get some food. In front of Winchell's Donuts, we met up with Little Marston and Godfather from 69 East Coast. We talked for a while to Baby Gangster, Twin, and Mondo from Santana Block, and when we returned, the females were gone. Harv was upset as he felt they owed us some pussy for the ride. I said fuck them and settled down with my pastrami sandwich. I hadn't taken 2 bites before I was frozen stiff with fright. "Aw shit," is all I heard Little Harv say. And damn right, in front of us was Little Fee, Taekwon Cox, and at least 12 other 60s dressed in all black suits walking toward my car. I was sitting in the driver's seat with the door wide open, eating on the pastrami, and Harv was next to me in the passenger seat. By some stroke of good luck, they walked right past and never looked our way. The slightest look to the left would have meant a bullet to the head. My weapon was not even reachable from where I was seated. I recognized not only Little Fee, who looked like a reptile with almond-shaped eyes that were green or hazel, depending on his mood, but Crazy Keith from Harlan 30s, who had brought me the horrible news of Trey Ball's death while we were in YTS. Back then, only a year before, he was talking that Trey love shit, using semantics, knowing that Harlem's allegiance as 30s was not to the 3 but to the O, which automatically allied them with the 60s and 90s. On his own, Crazy Keith was likable, but now I saw his true colors. "Cuz, let's go, we can get away," Little Harv said, excited, relieved, and happy that we escaped. "Fuck that," I said, reaching for my 38 under the seat. "You know they up here looking for me." "Yeah, but they ain't seen you. We can't." "Shut up. Listen, take my car to the end of the alley and wait for me. I'm gonna give these ninjas what they came for." "We could get away," Little Harv was mumbling more to himself than anything else as I got out and he slid over into my seat. I went into the alley the same way they had and walked to the end, looking slowly out. There I saw 2 cars parked, both drivers facing the same way. I thought about blasting the drivers, but opted for bigger fish instead. I eased back into the alley and waited for the group to come back my way. It didn't take long. I heard them laughing and talking amongst themselves and let them all walk past. I let them get about 25 feet before standing and taking aim. "Gangsta," I yelled and squeezed the trigger. Some ran, some fell, and others hollered. One turned and fired back. It was Little Fee, but he had a revolver and was outgunned. I squeezed off 9 rounds, then broke across the alley, dropping the clip and pushing in a fresh one. I fired 4 more shots before the others found the heart to return fire. The big blue dumpster I was behind was catching hell. I spent my remaining 5 rounds and discarded the empty clip, then slammed in another one and continued my assault. When I had 3 rounds left, I began my retreat. Their shots came far apart now. I heard screeching tires and screams all around us. A siren wailed in the far-off distance. The 77th Division of the LAPD is less than 5 minutes from Florence in Maine. When I was out of danger and was able to stand and run, I bolted to where I told Little Harv to wait, but he was gone. I ran back around the side, taking fire from those who were retrieving their wounded and onto Florence Avenue. Luckily, I saw white boy Eric and flagged him down for a ride. Back in the hood, I found Little Harv sitting in my car in front of Trey Ball's house. I opened the door and immediately started pistol whipping him. Disgusted at his cowardice, I left him in the middle of the street and went home. All that night, I thought about Crazy Keith. The next morning, I called around and got April's number. She had resurfaced and was supposedly claiming Harlem. If that was the case, I knew she had a line on Keith. I got in touch with her and asked her where Keith lived. She claimed not to know, but added that he'd be over her house at 8 that evening. Before I hung up, she said, "Monster, don't kill him at my house," which sent chills through my whole body. If she had set up Twinkie, had she been that cool about it? I called Stag and ran down the previous night's episode. He was hot. I told him of my plans for that evening, and he was all in. Just then, Temu rolled over. "What was that all about?" "Nothing really, just getting that Stag." "About what? And what did you do last night?" "Oh, just shot a few people." I knew that would stop her from asking questions, and it did. I took a shower and watched some cartoons with Kianda. She asked if I'd take her to the park, and I said I'd see. She was so pure, so clean, so honest. We contrasted sharply. I hoped that she'd never know her father was a monster, a hunter, and often the hunted. I watched her more than I did the cartoons. Fatherhood, how, when, and most importantly, where. The park, she knew, was a vast grassland with a sandbox and swings. In actuality, it was a meeting and mounting place for one of the many warring factions in South Central. It was a target area for rivals and a cemetery for the ignorant. She was oblivious to all that made up her surroundings. "Did you hear me? Huh?" "What?" I said, "Are you hungry?" "No, I'm good, thank you." "Babes, what's wrong?" "Nothing," I said, and went on watching Kianda watching TV. But I knew it was wrong. I just didn't want to tell her. I didn't want her to worry. I was back in the thick of it and knew that after the night, there'd be no turning back. My neighborhood, right? My neighborhood wrong. Right or wrong, my neighborhood. At 7:30 p.m., Stag and I rode out in the red Toyota Tercel for undercover purposes. I had the 38 in my waistband and Stag had the 44 Bulldog. We headed north on Western Avenue. Our intentions were to correct Keith with minimal damage to others and space back to the hood. Crazy Keith pulled to a stop in front of her house facing east. He was in baby brother's white 61 Chevy. We waited to see if he would notice us. He exited the car with the bag that appeared to be a 40-ounce bottle of beer and began walking up to April's house. The very real possibility existed that April could be setting us up. After all, we weren't the best of friends, so we moved cautiously. When his back was turned, we left the car and began to creep up on him. He never heard us coming. The only thing that saved him was April answering the door and calling our names. He turned in surprise, so we had to play it off like we were just seeing how easy it was to get him. After that, he began to relax, never thinking that he had been clocked last night with his cohorts in pursuit of me. "So, what the tray like, homie?" he said, popping the top off his old English 800. "ETGRSK, I said without humor, reminding him I was a rolling 60s killer. His fake smile started to fade. "What's up, Stag?" he said, trying to switch hit, hoping to find some humor in Stag, or at least a reprieve. I'm sure at that point he suspected I knew, as I had said it. "Cuz, what you got against me?" I asked Keith. April excused herself and went into the house. "Or what you got against my hood?" "Nothing, monster. You and me been cool. You know I ain't beefing with you." He was taking big gulps of the 40, perhaps his last drink. Keith, I began, doing the Michael Corleone scene with Rocco, who had set up Sonny. "I saw you. Now don't lie to me. Cuz, they said it was just business. That's on the hood. They said it was strictly business." "Who said that?" "Little Fee and the Raymonds." "The Raymonds?" asked Stag. "Yeah, it was us, the 60s and the Raymonds, because it wasn't nothing personal. So it's just business when I blow your fucking brains out all over this fucking porch, right?" Huh? "Nah, monster, wait. I know where they be hanging out at. All of them. Cuz they there right now. They trying to start this syndicate thing on the west side, and you a problem, so you gotta go. It's for the betterment of the Crip Nation. You believe that punk shit, ninja? You out of your fucking mind. They can't kill me, fool. I'm already dead, motherfucker." I drew my weapon and grabbed Keith by the collar, putting the barrel to his temple. I watched the sweat pour down over his face. "Monster, wait, please, man, hold it. We can go right now and bust on them ninjas. I ain't down with them. Man, I wouldn't do shit with your sorry ass." Just then, a cutlass came to a halt in front of April's house. It was impossible to see who was inside. I put my weapon away and pushed Keith out in front of me. The driver, who had appeared, was the only occupant of the cutlass, got out and came up to where we were. "Keith, who are these ninjas? What's wrong with you?" "Cuz, that's Monster." And before Keith could even get out, the dude, who I later found out was Brandon, started to draw a small chrome revolver. But his movements were slow and obvious, and Stag had him on the bead with the 44. "Cuz," Brandon said when he saw we had the drop, "Harlem ain't got no beef with gangster." "Then why you pulling your gat?" asked Stag, who still had the 44 trained on him. "Cuz shit, I ain't knowing what's up with Monster. Your homie Keith was with some sissies and Raymonds last night when they called himself ambushing the motherfucker." "What?" "Keith, what I tell you about hanging with them ninjas? They set tripping, huh?" Pow!